Arsenal legend and Premier League superstar, or ex-superstar, shall I say. He's still a superstar. Thierry Henry was on the Gary Neville Overlapped Stick to Football podcast, and he criticised the situation, called out Arsenal and Mikel Arteta in terms of being underachievers. Now, of course, you had Righty sitting there as well, another Arsenal legend who's probably been a little bit more defensive of Arsenal of late, and indeed Mikel Arteta. But Mr. Vavavoom, Monsieur Vavavoom, wasn't so gentle with the scenario at Arsenal. And it is the discussion, isn't it? It is the discussion. Look, Mikel Arteta's biggest success at Arsenal is he stopped them being a banter era club, you know, of which he sort of dragged them down into it a little bit in terms of eighth place finishes. Easy for me to say, but that's stopped now. They're not going to finish 8th under Arteta. Huge achievement. They're not a banter club. They're not going to do what Man United and Tottenham have done this season. Not on his watch, which in isolation is a huge achievement. Now, he did, in his first few months, win an FA Cup with Unai Emery's team, at the expense of my club, Chelsea, which I always remind you that I'm not bitter at all, but it was before VAR and Anthony Taylor sent off Kovacic for being fouled, and our goal scorer got a hamstring injury. But yeah, not bitter at all. Credit to Arteta, he won an FA Cup, but that was over half a decade ago. And since he's implemented his own style and, philosophy, they've not won anything. 5 years these players haven't won it. And I am not, and I'll repeat, I am not, and I'm sorry, Arsenal fans, including the pre-season friendly of a charity shield. We're talking major trophies. Now, often Arsenal do like to include those because they have a lot of them. So it very much stat pads their trophy cabinet. But, I mean, a lot of gooners would be like, no, that's not a proper trophy. A proper trophy is a tournament cup or a league title. Maybe a super cup as well because it's mid-season, it's competitive, etc. You'd say. Certainly not a pre-season friendly in the charity shield when they're still bringing players back from... internationals, yada, yada, yada. So we're going to talk about what Thierry Henry said, get into it a little bit, and then, pose the question. But it certainly made headlines. I've seen it circulating around social media. 15 minutes ago, BBC Sport have published an article on it, which is what I'm going to be reading off today. It's just a very short read. Thierry Henry is Arsenal's, of course, record goal scorer of 228 goals, and he's come back and been really, really quite ruthless. Guys, thank you so much for joining me here on Football Yannick. There is daily ruddy content here on this channel, multiple uploads every day, apparently. Me bringing you the big footballing stories and my thoughts on it. And if you're interested in that, you're most welcome. You're all welcome here, mate. You really are, all of you. So thank you for liking and subscribing. It's, I'm really pleased and genuinely quite humbled that we're finding great momentum here on this YouTube channel. Just quickly before we get cracking, at time of recording, nearly lunchtime on Wednesday the 28th of May, we've got 17,197 subscribers. I reckon, with this kind of crazy momentum, 1,200 in the last 28 days, I wonder by the time the summer's finished, we can reach that 20,000 subscriber mark. Incredible scenes, really. So thank you so much for that. Right, let's read the BBC article. Arsenal have underachieved, says under their manager Mikel Arteta in the past 3 years, says former captain Thierry Henry. Underachieved under Arteta. They have underachieved under Arteta. Now, some gooners would say that. Some gooners, Arsenal fans, will defend him. You've got certain content creators, YouTubers that defend him, certain people that criticize him. Football is a game of opinions and will always remain that way. It's interesting because in these difficult times of flux, the way I present it, I will read this in just a moment. The way I look at it is the Arsenal owners will love Arteta because he's brought stability and revenue. But the fans, they want glory. And Arsenal are a massive club. They're a ruddy, massive, big historic club, and they want trophies to celebrate as a fan base. Even Man United, in their worst period ever. They've won a couple of trophies recently and got to a final. Arsenal not getting to finals. Arteta, who's 43 years old, has transformed the Gunners since leaving Manchester City for Arsenal in 2019, making the side regular title challengers. I suppose that's fair. They were like close, certainly, last season. This season it was not a title challenge, let's be fair. However, the club have not won a piece of silverware since the aforementioned FA Cup in 2020, a few months into his tenure. Arsenal have finished second in the Premier League in the past 3 seasons. And they were knocked out of the semi-final stage of the Champions League and Carabao Cup, the League Cup, this term. So Henry says this. He says, perhaps I will not do the French accent because that will be a little bit silly. Also, he has a bit more of a deep voice and sounds a lot more sexy. He did say this though. I'm not saying that I'm disappointed with Arsenal. I'm just angry. But it's normal that people are raising questions now about what the team is doing. I understand that at the very beginning you arrive, it's not your team. And that's the team, incidentally, he won the FA Cup with. Well, that wasn't his team. You need at the very least 3 or 4 transfer windows to change everything that you want to. It takes time. And you have to give a manager time to be able to implement what he wants to do. Yes, all very sensible so far, and I think broadly everyone agrees. For the last 3 years, Arsenal have been in a situation where they should have brought at least 1 cup, or even just reached a final. And of course, there's that joke about how they need Viagra because they can't get past the semi, yada, yada, yada. Arsenal have averaged 82 points per season in the past 3 Premier League campaigns, which is great. That's always going to get you top 4. If you get 82 points a season, you're not going to win the title, but you'll always get top 4. Which is, I'll revert back to what I said, is what the owners will want. Thank you very much. Champions League football, security, doing your job very well, Mikel. That's what they want, you know. But Henry used Manchester United, who've won 2 trophies and competed in 5 finals in the past 5 years as a comparison. So in that time, Arsenal have not even reached a final, let alone winning a trophy. Man United have reached 5 finals, and this is their worst period in their Premier League history, winning 2 trophies. Manchester United have played in 5 finals, said Henry, in the last 5 years. The United that everyone laughs at, and we really do. Whereas for Arsenal, in the last 3 years of building, they've not even reached a final. So do I understand when people question? Surely you should compete for a trophy. And I must say, I tend to agree with the French forward. Again, it's not for me as just a silly little football fan, YouTube content creator, reaction guy. I'm not an Arsenal fan. I have loads of friends being from the south of England who are Gooners, Arsenal fans. And a lot of them are divided, actually. I think broadly, collectively, they all respect Arteta for what he's done in terms of what I said at the top of the video. He's ascended them out of banter conversations, the banter era. That's done. But like, I mean, football's if you're a big club, you need to win trophies. It's just simple as. It's simple as. Different size clubs will celebrate different things. Yeah. And because he's made them good, they need to win a trophy. Like, I've celebrated my club, Chelsea, who have been in what can only be described as the most radical of transitions, sanctioned by the government, a change of ownership, a change of total sporting hierarchy, management, and a whole playing squad wiped. And that's been a really turbulent time in the last 3 years. Yeah. So just before that, we were winning Champions League in the time Arsenal haven't won a trophy. We've won Club World Cup, great trophy, Super Cup, major trophy, and a Champions League. Yeah. In that time, under the previous ownership, we've gone through this mental transition, and we've got a chance today, at time of recording, to win a trophy. Now, I celebrated top 4. For me, that was more important for the financial situation, which leans into how good Arteta has done at Arsenal. But I want to see my team, my players lifting a piece of metal. Like, this is a trophy we've done together, that we've been through, not a charity shield. We've been through a journey together. We've traveled to different stadiums, played different teams, got to a final, and lifted this piece of metal, this trophy together. I want to see the pictures. I want to see the reactions. I want to see the look in the players' eyes. Arsenal fans should want the same for Declan Rice. They want to see Ødegaard. Saka's not the captain, it is Ødegaard. They want to see Ødegaard lift a cup and Saka smiling. They want to see, Havertz, yeah, because Havertz won the Champions League at Chelsea and he likes it at Arsenal. He wants to win trophies at Arsenal. Arsenal fans want to say that, and then they want to go to Chelsea. Look, he's lifted a trophy at Arsenal. This is just how football fandom works. It's rivalry, it's theatre, it's I can't think of the word, but there's words that I'm trying to think of. What's it called? Partisan. I literally remembered as soon as I paused the recording. That kind of rivalry, basically. So as good as you can say, oh, well, we've done well. Winning the Premier League's hard. It's the Premier League and the Champions League are the ones, aren't they? The fact how Arsenal have never won the Champions League, I wonder if Arsenal fans would just like to get that one, wouldn't they? Just get one. Get one Champions League so Chelsea can stop singing, we're the only team in London with a European Cup, which of course I hope we keep singing for as long as time as possible. But that's probably the one that, they've won 2 or 3 Premier Leagues. How many Premier Leagues have they got? I know they've got league titles from like pre-war time when the ball was literally like a pig's head. How many Premier League titles do Arsenal have? 3, yeah, okay. So they obviously got the one in the late 90s, and then 2021, 2023, and of course an invincible team in there with very low points total. Sorry, I had to do it. They got beaten by Chelsea in the Champions League. Sorry, not really. Look, 3 Premier Leagues is nothing to sniff at. My club have only got 5. And this is when, Daddy Roman Abramovich super strength era. So 3's not awful. They want to top up, but they'd think, they want to get a Champions League. Just get one and then move on. Put that to bed. That's what they'll want. But even now, to go back to what Henri's saying, just a freaking League Cup, an FA Cup, or even a final. They're not getting to finals under Arteta. For some reason, they don't, and they're good enough. They're a wicked team. I wish they weren't as a rival fan, but I'm the kind of fan, and this is why I'm trying to cultivate a broad church of viewership here, because I can respect Arsenal are a big boy team. They are a serious team. They got beaten by PSG, so the Champions League's a tough example here, because PSG are really good, and Arsenal had a striker with the chances they created. They were very much in that match. They slapped up a, admittedly embarrassing Real Madrid team, but it's a great moment for them. But yeah, you just think, go and get an FA Cup, go and get a League Cup, reach a final, I'm not worried about them in the Prem because they'll consistently be good in the Premier League. But to what Thierry Henry's saying, just go and get to a final and win a cup and get that, get that monkey off your back and win some silverware. He's right to say it as an Arsenal legend as well. It's over half a decade now. It's getting silly nonsense now. But of course, I'm enjoying it. Let me know what you think. Please do leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let's start up a nice community here. No fighting. Or gentle fighting. And thank you for dropping a like on this video. Thank you for subscribing to Football Yannick. As soon as there's a story I want to talk about, I'll upload. And I'll be, always very happy to have you here. So if you subscribe, hit the bell, and enjoy the football. Peace.